everyone, and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be making these continuous zipper pouches. These are really fun, and what is unique about them is you can see here that the zipper is one continuous piece. It does not end and begin at either end of the bag. So to create this bag, you use 1/2 of a zipper. I'm going to walk you through this step by step. And as with most any zipper pouch, you can adjust this to be any size that you like. It's a really versatile pattern and a really pretty easy one. So I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. I have provided a Cricut Design Space file in the description below the video for the large size bag. If you would like to cut this out with your Cricut, you absolutely can. But for those of you who don't have a Cricut, you can cut this by hand. It is a few rectangles, so really easy, and I have all of the information in the video. So let's get started. So this is what you're going to need. This is, again, for the large bag. You're going to need 2 pieces of fabric, 9 by 20. You can make this up any way you want. If you want to make a stripe in the middle, whatever you want to do, just make sure you have 2 starting pieces, 9 by 20. I do have the Cricut Design Space file for all of these pieces linked in the description below this video, but if you want to cut this by hand, absolutely can. You can see it's basically just a bunch of rectangles. So 2 pieces, 9 by 20. This is going to be my outer, this is going to be my lining. You're going to need a zipper that is at least 21 inches long. I think they'd come in 22. Longer would be even better, but at least 22 inches long. For the large bag, you're going to need another piece of fabric that is, this is just a sample, but it needs to be 12 by 2, and that's going to be your handle. You're going to fold that in half, open it up, press the centers or the edges to the center, fold it in half, and then you're going to stitch it closed, and that's going to become your handle. You're going to do the same process with another piece of fabric, which is 1 3/4 by 3, just like this. You're going to open it up, fold it into the middle, press it in half, sew the long seam, and that's going to be our little tab. So I've already prepared that. So both of these are sewn along the edge. I'm just prepping these ahead of time. You're going to need a lobster clasp like this. That's a swivel lobster clasp, and then a D-ring of some sort, or an O-ring, whatever you have on hand is fine. That's just going to attach the tab to the outer piece. So I put fusible fleece on the back of mine. That's totally optional, and you can see I threw some stitches in there just to give it a little bit more interest. You might be able to see it better on this side. It's kind of hard to show in the light, but that's optional. It's totally just decorative. You don't have to do that if you're using the fusible fleece. It's already attached, so it is just purely decorative. So we're going to take, the first thing we're going to do is start with our zipper. We need to prepare the zipper. So again, this was made with 1/2 of a zipper. And you can see it sets open really nice, and it doesn't have this closed in. This is all zipper. So it's really kind of unique. It took me a little bit to figure out how to do this. So what you're going to do is start with your zipper, and you're going to cut off right at the tab. You're going to cut that zipper stop off. Now pull your zipper down and pull it right off. Yep, you're going to pull that right off. Don't lose it. And on this end, we're going to line up, again, those zipper stops, and we're going to cut those off. So now we have 2 zipper pieces. Now, one fun thing you could do is use the other half, and maybe we'll switch it up and do that for this one. Use the other half for your handle, and for your tab, we could use the other half of the zipper for that. So maybe we'll do that. That'll be fun. All right, so you're going to take your outer fabric first, and you're going to grab one of your zippers ends, and you're going to put it so that the tape side is facing up. And if you're using a directional fabric, you want to make sure you're working with the top of the fabric. And you're going to put the teeth side down, face down on the fabric, with the zipper tape facing up and the teeth facing down. Now, if you have the Wonder Tape, which I've shown you in the past, you might want to use that. It's very helpful in this particular project. And you're going to place the Wonder Tape I like to put it right on the zipper tape on the teeth side, as close to the edge of the zipper as I can, and leave a little gap at the end of an inch or two. It'll still hold your zipper in place, but you don't want to have to peel that off after you've sewn this. So again, we're just adding the Wonder Tape. And I have this linked in the description below the video. And we're adding that on the zipper teeth side, right under the zipper. I want to make sure I keep it near the edge so it doesn't show. All right, so like I said, we're going to flip it down so the zipper side is down, the tape is facing towards the top of our fabric, and we're going to center that right over our bag, or our outer piece, sorry. So just put that right there, hold it in place. And you want a little bit of fabric or zipper to hang off the edge on both ends. And the more you have, the easier it's going to be later. So like I said, if you can start with a bigger zipper, that's fine. This just happens to be the length of the one I had on hand that matches what we're doing. All right. So once you have that in place, you can take this over to the sewing machine and stitch that down. If you feel comfortable, go ahead and add your lining piece with another piece of Wonder Tape. And if you don't feel comfortable doing these both at the same time, you can do one and then go back and go right over the other one. But I'm going to do them both at the same time. With the Wonder Tape, it's really a lot easier. Okay, so now you want to make sure you keep this directional fabric. The top is facing up. And I'm going to sandwich that right on top, making sure to line up my sides. And I'm just going to push that into place. All right. So now you want to take this over to your sewing machine and stitch right along that edge with your zipper foot and secure that zipper into place. Make sure you have teeth hanging off both sides. The teeth should be facing the bottom and the top of the zipper is facing the lining. So stitch that into place and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so once you have that sewn into place, you're going to lift it up and fold it together and finger press that zipper out. And then you're going to take it over to your sewing machine and top stitch right along the fabric as close to the zipper as you can get, or as close as you like to have your top stitching. That's up to you. But you're going to stitch right along that top edge. Okay, so now that we have the top stitch in place, it's time to add our little tab. Now, if you want, you can use this small one that I have provided in the file or in the measurements that we cut and folded and sewn. But I thought for fun, I'm going to try using the other half of the zipper. I just cut off about a 3-inch piece, and I'm going to put my D-ring in there, fold it in half, and we're just going to clip this to one side or the other about 2 inches down, but you only want to clip it, don't clip it to the lining, just clip it to the outer fabric. You're going to put the open end facing out. So the open end is facing out, and I'm just going to clip that into place. And that'll be kind of cute because it's going to match the zipper, the fun zipper that we have. So again, it's only attached to the outer fabric, not the lining. So I'm just going to run over to my sewing machine and tack that down just to keep it in place so I don't have to worry about it as we finish the construction of the bag. Okay, so I have tacked that down. Again, I only tacked it to the outer fabric. So now we need to reattach our zipper pull. And don't worry, this isn't as hard as you may think. So I'm just going to turn it over the right side down, the zipper's facing me, and I'm going to fold it like you would, like you folded an airplane back when you were a kid. Just fold it like this and get those zipper tabs lined up that are hanging out. And all you're going to do, your zipper has a fat end or a rounded end and a skinny end. You're going to take the rounded end with the zipper pull facing up like this, and you're just going to put one side in, and don't do anything more than just like lightly put it in. Don't push on it or anything. And then you're going to get the other side in, and it's kind of hard to show this on camera. My fingers get in the way. And then you're going, once you have both sides in, you just kind of push and you'll hear a little click. Once you have that click, you can zip this right back up. All right, so once you have that done, you want to turn it, or zip it up enough that you can keep it together, and then turn it right side out, or wrong side out, so that you're looking at the lining. All right, so it's looking like this. Make sure that D-ring is stuck in there so we don't sew over it. All right, now you're going to lift up your lining, and voila. It's going to look something like this. Okay, you need me to show you again? I'll do that one more time. Let me turn this right back out. So we added our zipper like this. Start over. So we added our zipper. We zipped it about halfway up. We opened it up. Turn it wrong side out so you're looking at the lining. Got that zipper about halfway open. You need to leave it open some. I might open it even a little bit more. Okay, so I've got my zipper open about that much. Okay, so now we've got it like this. I'm a lefty, so I work backwards probably. And you're going to take the lining and just peel it up so that we have the lining pieces together and the outer pieces together. Okay, so now you're going to need some Wonder Clips or pens, whatever you want to use. And the first thing you're going to do is push the zipper tapes together like this so that the tape is going towards the outer fabric and the teeth are going towards the lining. And I'm just going to clip that like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and clip the rest of this together on the outer fabric. And then we're going to do the same on the lining, making sure that when you look in there, everything's lined up. And things might have shifted a little bit. If it doesn't line up exactly, that's okay. Just work from the top and work your way out. All right, and now we're going to, on the lining side, we want to remind ourselves not to sew in about, I would say 3 to 4 inches. So I'm going to mark a 3-inch mark here, just to remind me not to sew between those lines. If you want to mark those with straight pins, you can do that. That's easy to do. Excuse my reach. Excuse my Band-Aid too. I burnt my hand. And I figured you'd rather look at a Band-Aid than a blister. Okay, so now we're going to take this over to the sewing machine and you're going to sew from here. You're going to back stitch all the way up, over the zipper, down, back to your mark, back stitch, lift up your needle, don't sew between the 2 pins, back stitch, and sew off the end on this end and back stitch. So 1, 2, 3 up to your mark, skip in between the marks, and back stitch at the beginning and the end to finish off the 3rd side. Don't sew on this rounded side, the folded side. You're not going to sew here. So 1, 2, 3. When you go over the zipper, take your time You can use a 1/2 inch seam allowance, whatever you feel comfortable with. It really doesn't matter at this point. I just use the width of my presser foot. I find that works the best for me. So go ahead and finish that part off, and I'll show you how to make the handle when we're done. So now you can see we have sewn all 3 sides, leaving an opening here on the lining side. So the next thing left to do is to box the corners, and there are several ways to box the corners. I've shown you guys a lot of them. You can cut the 1 inch square out of each corner and box them that way. You can use a triangle template. I've shown you that. I'm going to show you yet another way. Let me grab a small ruler. Okay, this is going to require the use of a fabric pen. You're going to open up your corner just like always, and you're going to meet that. So I'm reaching in the hole, I'm pulling the corner apart, and I'm going to match the back seam with the front seam. And I can kind of feel they're right on top of each other. And I'm going to measure, I'm going to put the line on my ruler. I'm using that 2 inch line. I'm going to put that right on top of my seam, so it's lined up straight. And I'm going to measure down 1 inch from the point. So I'm measuring down 1 inch from where these overlap. So we could potentially just cut that off. All right, so we're measuring 1 inch right on top of the seam, and we're going to mark that with a fabric marker, or you can use a pencil, whatever you have. I'm using these Pilot friction pens. Kind of hard to do this and working away from the natural way you would hold this for the sake of the video. All right, and I'm going to clip that into place. Take that over the sewing machine and sew it shut. And then once you have that one done, you're going to repeat it on the other side. Show you again. We're going to open it up. Match those seams. Right on top of each other. There's my point. Line my ruler up 1 inch right on top of the seam. So then when you get ready to do the opposite ends, you're just going to reach inside and do the same thing. Pull that corner out. Measure 1 inch. And again, you guys, I've shown you several ways to box corners. Any of them will work. You can do whatever you want. I just wanted to show you yet another way, and sometimes this is just quicker. Oops. So go ahead and sew each corner 1 inch. Okay, once you have all 4 corners sewn, I actually leave them on there. If you want, you can trim those off with a 1/4 inch, leaving a 1/4 inch seam allowance. But for this particular bag, I like to leave them on there. It just gives it a little bit more structure so that it stands. So I just leave it on there, but that's totally up to you. Okay, so what's left to do is to reach inside and turn this right side out. Again, if you want to cut those dog ears off, you absolutely can. But particularly for this bag, I leave them in there. Push your corners out. You might want to reach in there with a bone folder or a purple thing, whatever. Oh, I got a thread there. And just push those box corners out. Perfect. Don't forget about your top ones. Might want to unzip it the rest of the way. Make sure that's pushed out. Turned out nice. All right, so all that's left is to close up our opening. So you kind of just pull on it and it will naturally turn in on itself. Give it a little press and then just stitch that closed as close to the edge as you can get. So you can see I stitched mine closed, and so now we're just going to tuck this inside. And there you have it. You can see we've got the continuous zipper, which I think is really fun. We have the little pull, and I think that turned out fun using the other half of the zipper. You could have used your little tab. And now all that's left is to attach the handle. Now, if you want, you can use the other half of the zipper or the handle file that I have provided for you. If you're going to use the handle file, this is how I do it. I stick the lobster claw through stick the handle through the lobster claw clasp, and then I just pull them together and I stitch right across here. Let me clean that off. So I'm going to stitch right across there, about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little less, so I'll do that. All right, so once I have sewn across there, I have this. So then I move the lobster clasp down, oops, and I try to sandwich it in between those two pieces where those seams come together, just like that. Now we're going to turn the handle wrong side out, swivel the lobster clasp around so that it looks like this, and it's right between those two where the seams met. And then I'm just going to close these back together like this and put a seam right there, as close as I can get with my sewing machine with that D-ring being in there. So you need me to show you that again. This is we've sewn those together. Let me pull that out. We sewed that together. It's wrong side out. Take your lobster clasp and put it so the swivel is facing the same way as your seams. Lift it up and try to sandwich it in between those two seams. I swivel it around, so now it looks like this. And then I turn the whole thing right side out, pull it together, and then stitch that closed right there. You want to make sure you trim off any threads so that they're not sticking out from your raw edges. You could also put a little fray check on there. But then I just stitch it closed as close to that seam as I can get with my sewing machine. And there's one version of the handle. Now if you want to do another one, I would cut the rest of the zipper to about 12 inches. Okay, so when I put the lobster clasp on the zipper, I just sewed it shut like this instead of doing it the way we did the other handle, so it's just perfectly round. And then I'm just going to slide this around to close to that seam, close it like this, and stitch it closed again. It's not quite as nice of a look, but it still provides a fun little strap that matches the rest of the bag. So I'm just going to sew that shut right over that other seam, and you can make this as wide or narrow as you want. And then you can just clip either handle on right onto the zipper. Now I'll have to give it some more thought. There's probably a nicer way to finish off that zipper tape handle. So right now I would prefer to use the fabric handle, but let me give it a little thought and I'll get back to you with a better way to design that zipper handle, because I think it's really, really cute. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. That tells YouTube that you enjoy this video, and it tells me to make more of this type of tutorial. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to stop by my blog at lorrienunemaker.com. And until next time, never stop making. See you guys. Bye-bye.